HSBC, Fidelity, the entire thing was just institutions. It's next level. This industry is going to the next level. And guys, I don't know what else to say. I'm bullish.
You said it. You finally said it.
I'm so bullish.
Andy's bullish. I'm bullish. We're bullish. We're going to the top. We're on 4th floor today. We're going to be on floor 1, and then we're headed straight to the moon, boys.
$2026.
Bang.
Happy New Year.
First episode of the year. What up?
Man.
What up? What up? What up? Calling in from Hawaii. It's 10 a.m., baby.
How do you get there?
Let's go. Took a plane. I've been on my mental, spiritual reset here, man.
Yeah.
Dude. So yesterday there was something about uranium from the government, and we were talking about uranium on the show the other day.
A while back, yeah.
And I'm telling you, Marin Katusa's Rise of America book is so dialed, it's insane.
So that book was written a while ago, but you're saying now it's come to fruition.
It was written before. It was written like as COVID was kind of like coming out.
Right.
But yeah, man, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New
What a
Year.
vibe.
Indeed. Man, it was a good
What a
time in Tampa. We got together. We handed out some awards.
That was so funny, man.
That was a good time.
Dude.
We had the fire cooking. It was getting hot in there, dude.
Dude, the awards ceremony was hilarious, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Little known secret was there was ginger ale in the champagne glasses.
Yeah, exactly.
Shh, don't tell. Don't tell.
Man, that was fun.
That was a good time.
That was number 100 of the show.
That was episode 100. Obviously, I mean, we've done thousands of podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
Up until this point. But yeah, that was number 100 of the live show. Plenty of learnings as well, but it's always fun getting together whenever we do it at the conferences or we do it otherwise. And just it's a good time, man. It's a good time. And I'm looking forward to a lot of fun conferences this year. We'll be in, I mean, should we just run through the slate real quick? Where are we going this year? We're gonna head out to Denver. We were a little skeptical. We weren't really.
Dude, I think I'm going to Consensus Hong Kong though first. I don't know.
So I was a little skeptical. You said it was going to be good. I've been to a Consensus in Austin, Texas. Might have gone to another one. Oh, I went to Masari Mainnet, which was the other one, like off the beaten path. Have you been to Consensus Hong Kong before?
I went last year, man, but I just don't know, man. I did the Consensus Hong Kong to Denver flight. It was just, don't you remember? I came to Denver. I was literally wrecked. And then I got that IV ordered to the house.
Oh, I do remember.
And I
do remember
IV
that you were in the
delivered.
bottom floor of the Airbnb with the
Just dying out, just crashing out hard.
The doctor's assistant was sticking the thing in your arm and you were freaking out.
I honestly don't think, dude, I was so lightheaded. I honestly don't think I don't think I mean, yeah, my Hong Kong adventure will definitely not be the same as what it was last year. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, Hong Kong, I haven't been, but I've heard it's really, really good.
So that's probably going to be a good event. But yeah, if So whether I do that or not is kind of up for grabs.
Sure.
I do have about a week kind of to figure out where or what to do, but
So then Denver. We'll be
Yeah.
at Denver. We're excited. We'll probably be moderating a couple panels. That'll be fun. And then we're gonna head out west. We'll be in California. We'll be in San Fran.
Yep.
We'll visit some of the AI metropolis in Silicon Valley. We'll be going to NearCon. Shout out to the best in privacy.
yo,
Best in privacy. Near
that's pretty cool, man.
Zcash.
I'm glad that we got.
the
We
Zcash
should
train.
we got to
Power.
mail those out to these people.
Yeah, we will. We will. Let's do it. I think everyone will be excited to get those. So we'll be in San Fran. We'll go to NearCon. We'll visit some of the Silicon Valley companies out there.
Yep.
And then, man, we've got a American Dynamism expedition ahead of us.
Yes, we do.
Towards the end of Q1. We've got some secrets in store. We're not going to give those away quite yet, but we'll be in New York, Digital Asset Summit. Obviously, Trump addressed Digital Asset Summit last year in New York.
Yep.
So we'll be there again this year. And then we'll be in DC for DC Blockchain Summit. And
Yep.
I mean, there's some rumblings around, maybe it's a good segue because there's some rumblings around the Clarity
Yeah,
Act.
the market structure bill getting passed. I feel like that's all for Q1 then. That's like what, 3 conferences?
That, yeah. So Denver, NearCon, Digital Asset Summit, DC. So 4 conferences.
Dude, did you
Hong
also know
Kong,
that there's
maybe.
a
Eats-
consensus Miami this year?
I did not know that.
May 5th to 7th, consensus Miami at the Miami Beach Convention Center.
Okay, well, that one should be fun. Miami conferences. I haven't been to a Miami conference since the Bitcoin Miami conference. back
Alex
in
Rodriguez
2020.
is speaking there.
Yeah, he's a Miami legend.
The baseball guy.
Yep,
Baseball player.
he was part of the steroid crew up in the New York Yankees. That boy was roided up.
For sure.
He hit a lot of home runs, but he's quite the business guy. And Miami should be good. And then obviously ETC is early this year.
Yep.
ETC is in April. when
Yeah,
it's
it is in
usually June.
April, which is kind of
So-
weird.
It's a little weird. It's a little early for a European summer.
Yeah,
So,
it's not it doesn't
we'll have to-
align with the Euro summer energy at all.
yeah. So we'll have to figure
It's kind
that
of
one
weird.
out.
Do you think they just did that because it was so hot?
Could be that.
Probably was.
You know, obviously last year the Olympics or 2024, the Olympics were in Paris, and so they moved it to Belgium, Brussels. That would have been the year to adjust the timing, but they kept the same timing. They just moved the location.
Dude,
I don't
you know,
know.
we also have the World Cup this year
In New York, yeah,
in the States.
yep.
What are the dates on that?
Good question. I believe it's over the summer.
June 11th to July 19th.
Could-
Wow.
that could have been another reason because that would have overlapped as well.
Where is this thing being played? I saw that Trump lowered the prices a ton.
I don't.
Or maybe it wasn't
He
Trump. but, like-
claimed it was Mamdani was claiming that he was going to make the FIFA tickets affordable for everyone, but
Yeah, we
doesn't
got-
have the authority to lower ticket prices for FIFA. So that got community noticed.
So you've got games in Mexico City, Guadalajara, Toronto, LA, Boston, Vancouver, New York, San Fran, Philadelphia, Houston, Dallas.
They're saying New York, but the stadium that they're doing the games at is the New York Jets and
Yeah,
Giants
the
stadium
New Jersey
in
Stadium.
New Jersey, East Rutherford. So
Yeah.
not quite New York, but in the
And then they got
Northeast.
Miami,
Oh yeah.
Atlanta, Seattle. Dude, I'm definitely going to a game in New York then.
In Jersey.
We got Brazil
Rutherford.
versus Morocco. I will for sure show up in a Brazil shirt. 100%. 6 p.m.
Can you name a couple players?
Oh man, you're killing me here.
Putting you on the spot.
Neymar, where's Neymar at?
Is he still playing?
I don't know. I don't think so. Dude,
Oh, man.
they've got some studs though. Morocco's pretty good, man.
Really? Morocco?
So yeah, that's kind of like our Q1 plan. Man, what a wild couple of days to start off the year. I mean, we had Vance and Michael on for the last episode of their kind of like segment on the show, and I remember I was bear hold, and they were like, Yo, man, come January, I think things are gonna really start moving because this tax loss harvesting or whatever it was, whatever reasoning you want to create for your biases. And turns out they were pretty much spot on. I mean, the market went pretty much vertical from January 1st. Like January 1st, all the way through yesterday, we had 5 green candles on Bitcoin in a row, kind of broke out of that range, kind of retesting there. I see a lot of different calls on Twitter. So kind of a nice little boost to start the year. Sentiment was zero. The market was going straight down for 3 months. It was pretty bleak. I mean, I think a lot of people signed off and are still kind of signed off. And I think that has led to what's happened. I think a lot of people are sidelined. Yeah, I don't know. Arthur put out that post yesterday, and I'll read it verbatim, and I'm curious to get your take. We'll start this off. So
Arthur's so good.
Arthur writes, there is no point in attempting to use past data to discern what levels of oil prices and 10-year yields caused Trump to rein in the Fed's money printer. We will know it when we see it. And if oil prices and yields trend sharply higher, then it's time to become less constructive on risk. The base case is oil prices remain subsided, if not outright fall, and Trump and Buffalo Bill Bessent print money like it's 2020. This is because the market will initially believe U.S. control of Venezuelan oil will cause a massive increase in the daily amount of pumped crude oil. Who knows whether this initial bullish crude oil supply will actually come to fruition. And so between this oil trade and this kind of like mania happening with oil prices potentially going down, sounds like there's a more stronger credit creation bull case for 2026 so far. I mean, what a crazy event, right? Like, I mean, I didn't think taking over countries was like part of the agenda in the 20th or 21st century. Here we are.
I mean, Trump made it pretty clear with Greenland, right? That was like part of his campaign platform. It's like, we want to go into Greenland. It's like, it's strategic for national security. They didn't get Greenland, but, colonialism, imperialism was sort of on the agenda when he was going into the office. It just manifested, geographically different in a different area than we thought. I think that quote from Arthur, it's important to understand, I think, the lens through which to look at this.
Yeah.
Which is 2 things. One is that Bitcoin is based pretty much entirely on the amount of credit creation and the speculation that more credit is going to be created. People call it the inflation hedge, gold hedge, right? Digital gold. As more fiat money is created, the price of Bitcoin goes up. And this is because there's a fixed amount of Bitcoin and there's an infinite amount of dollars. And so this is pure debasement trade. This is pure more credit gets created. Bitcoin price goes up. And so everything through which Arthur talks about, and I think the right way to look at Bitcoin is through this idea of, will it create more credit in the system? And so once you have that fundamental baseline, then you can look at, this thing that happened in Venezuela, right? Removing Maduro and then implanting and potentially seizing all of these Venezuelan assets for America.
Yeah, all that Bitcoin.
I mean, Bitcoin is one thing, but the oil and the gold is significant when it comes. I mean, it's more oil than they have in the Middle East or some Middle Eastern countries, and it's more gold than a lot of central banks have on their balance sheet. That is still in the earth. So it's a matter of how much you can pull out of the ground, but ultimately, it's going to be what. And so you kind of have this base case for Bitcoin, right? Which is fiat debasement, credit increase, and then credit creation. And then on the other side, you have politicians. He who controls the money printer, right? And another Arthurism that is in that article is, well, all politicians are concerned about is getting reelected.
Right. And, did you see Trump today was like, if the Dems win the midterms, I'm going to get impeached. That's what he said.
I wouldn't be surprised because they would just throw lawfare at him. And so the idea that you need to get reelected because that's the only way you can affect change. And so it makes sense. You can't control anything if you don't get elected. So first and foremost, you need to get reelected. And so what is far and beyond the one reason why a politician gets elected? It's domestic economic issues. And Arthur isn't alone on this. Tucker Carlson went on All In 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they said, "Hey, Tucker, a lot of people want you to run for president. What would you do if you were president?" And he would say, "At the expense of everything else, I would focus solely on domestic economic issues."
Yeah.
And so that's the reason people get elected. And so you kind of have this dynamic where if America and Trump is able to pull enough resources out of the ground in oil and gold and subsidize the American domestic economy, you can effectively print a ton of money and everyone wins, right? Because you can keep like middle and lower class happy by keeping goods and gas.
Inflation low, basically.
At par. You can keep inflation low, so lower and middle class are happy. But at the same time, you can print money till it's coming out your ears, because then the wealthy class are going to be happy as well, because the stock market's going to go up. The top 60% of Americans own equities, and so you can make them happy as well. And normally, if you print money to the effect that the stock market would go up, it would also cause inflation, and the lower and the middle class would be unhappy. But if you can kind of square the circle and you can subsidize the creation of new credit, then you kind of have the scenario where everyone wins. So I think this is going to be dependent. I think we're seeing the speculation now in the market where prices are doing quite well. That is starting to subside even today, because I think, the market is beginning to rationalize, well, really, this is going to be dependent on a few things. One is who ends up taking power in Venezuela. Is there going to be a coup, and is there going to be some sort of revolt in which like Maduro supporters or anti-American regimes take power and then end up fighting America tooth and nail when it comes to exporting? Or are you going to get a friendly American regime in Venezuela? And then two, even if it is a friendly American regime in Venezuela, how much of these resources are they able to pull out of the ground? And then three, how much of them are they going to end up shipping back to America? We're seeing a lot about oil. American oil stocks did quite well because we're assuming, like at first glance, that not only are we going to get an American regime that is open to pulling a lot of this out of the ground, we're going to send in industrialists to pull it out of the ground. And then three, we're going to end up enriching American oil companies by giving it directly to them at the expense of what was previously Venezuelan. Now, a lot of this is very indirect. It's kind of this transitive property. If one, then two, then three. And all of these have to happen in order for markets and this creation of credit to really take hold. I don't know what the probability of all three of these things happening. I would say maybe it's, 30, 40% or so. Andy, my question to you is a little bit more specific to Maduro. If this guy had trillions of dollars of oil and gold sitting underneath the surface of the earth in his home country, why did he have to lead a narco-terrorism group?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's he was doing I don't know if you saw, there was like reports of him using Tether for a lot of these payments to get around sanctions. They had all this natural resources, and their GDP went down 80%. They had the most inflationary regime ever. It's just socialism, man, and communism. And now they're talking about Cuba. I think it's generally positive to just end up getting rid of socialism and communism as a construct in the world. I think that's just like a positive outcome for the global state of affairs. Yeah, man. I mean, what a crazy couple of days there with and then just like the videos of him dancing and parading the guy around town. And anyway, so we don't need to get into geopolitics too much.
Imagine we pulled up in the Nike tech. Imagine we would have worn the Nike tech on the stream.
They're selling out his sweatsuit, like all of this stuff. It's just so silly. So silly. I saw this tweet that was like, geopolitics is like every man has all these takes, and we'll talk about geopolitics for hours. And so let's not get too caught up in geopolitics today. Let's get into some of the market stuff. Let's get into some of this neo finance category that we're slowly finding to be the most important area of the market to focus on in 2026. Guys, for those watching, we have really firmly developed a thesis for this year And really, it's probably going to extend longer than this year. And we want to talk about it more. We got a couple other things to cover. So let's go ahead and pull up some of the latest happenings in the market and get into it today, guys, on some of the latest tweets and posts that kind of struck our chords a bit here. So first one being is Vitalik with we solved the blockchain trilemma.
We solved it. It's done. Mission
so
accomplished.
Now that ZK EVMs are at an alpha stage, production quality performance, remaining work is safety, and Pure DAS is live on mainnet, which would happen with Fusaka. If you guys recall when we were at DevConnect in Buenos Aires, it's time to talk about more about what this combination means for Ethereum. These are not minor improvements. They are shifting Ethereum into being a fundamentally new and more powerful kind of decentralized network. To see why, let's look at the two major types of peer-to-peer networks so far. BitTorrent in 2000, huge total bandwidth, highly decentralized, no consensus. Bitcoin, highly decentralized, consensus, but low bandwidth because it's not distributed in the sense of work being split up. It's replicated. Again, it's this consensus replication that causes a lot of these blockchains to kind of slow down. Now with Ethereum, with Pure DAS 2025 and ZK EVMs, expect small portions of the network using it this year, which is bullish. We get decentralized consensus and high bandwidth. It's kind of like everything that we had hoped for. If you guys recall, Celestia was big on the kind of Pure DAS. They were going to try to solve that for Ethereum. Celestia Veil, EigenDA. Those alt DA solutions still have far more throughput than Ethereum does today, especially given their coming updates. But Pure DAS, like the first step towards that, effectively bringing in what is known as erasure coding or data availability sampling to Ethereum, meaning previously Ethereum was required to effectively look at every piece of data coming onto L1 from L2s and verify every single piece of data on every block. This allows you to take an entire set of, let's say, 100 pieces of data or 100 transactions or 100 blocks and effectively verify a third of them or in that kind of realm of thought. And because you know that these 33 random data sets are available and verifiable, then you can then guarantee that the entire set is. And so think of it as like instead of having to check off every box of an equation, you can check off some of the boxes, and because some of those boxes are verifiably correct or available, you don't have to check the rest. And now ZK EVMs, which is again effectively bringing in far faster proving times for Ethereum, proving Ethereum's consensus, and allowing better interoperability between L2s, and just making the L1 far more scalable. You get this kind of like decentralized consensus, high bandwidth. So Vitalik goes on to say that the trilemma has been solved, not on paper, but with live running code, of which one half, data availability sampling, is on mainnet today, which is the Pure DAS. And then the other part, ZK VMs, is production quality on performance today. Safety is what remains, guys, because again, once they push this ZK EVM stuff forward, it's hard to kind of pull it back. And so if there's bugs, it's kind of like why L2s haven't gone to stage 2 yet, because once you get from stage 1, you still have this kind of like escape hatches, this kind of ability to edit the different parts of the code, ability to kind of like censor the sequencer, change different things. Once you get to stage 2, it's almost like you pour the cement and then you can't take the cement back without breaking it completely down. And so this was a 10-year journey of DAS and ZK EVM attempts in 2020. And so, yeah, he goes on to kind of say what we'll expect in the next 4 years. And yeah, man, I mean, look, Ethereum has executed a bullish reversal here, and they've done it. And the tech is getting there, and it's bullish, and it's just great to see. So I just think that this was a huge thing for the Ethereum community. It seems like Vitalik really wanted to set this off in the beginning of the year as kind of like the big, big part of his agenda, set the year straight for Ethereum. So I'm glad to see it, and just more and more bullish on Ethereum.
So unironically, I think this is extremely bullish for ZK EVMs, but no one's really going to realize it until it's too late. Meaning that this is setting the stage for the snarkification of Ethereum. But I think kind of like what Santiago had described in his article, a lot of those infra protocols are going to gain significant amounts of adoption, but their prices are not going to go up. And I think Ethereum is going to swallow a lot of the institutional capital, and it's going to take a long, long time, maybe like 2 to 5 years before a lot of that ends up trickling down deeper into the ecosystem, into the ZK EVM or the ZK VMs, generalized ZK VMs, ZK marketplaces, proof generation, proof verification, all these sorts of things. And so, again, this is part of the neo finance thesis, but it sort of stops at this point of infrastructure where this table is set. And the table isn't just set for the regulatory, those who have a place at the table in the room. This table is also set for the infrastructure that is being used now, is essentially getting locked in to what Ethereum is going to look like for the foreseeable future. And so if you look at the generalized VMs, Brevis is making a late run. Boundless and Succinct obviously are doing quite well as well. Our friends over at Aligned are doing great things with the proof verification network. All of this is great. And I think all of those are locked in to have phenomenal years in terms of adoption. Those with tokens that are live, best of luck, because I do think Ethereum itself is positioned to swallow a lot of the dry powder and institutional liquidity that is up there for grabs. Not to say that, these companies won't hit tremendous milestones when it comes to engineering. I think ZK Performance ends up getting more performant by an order of magnitude, and these teams end up doing quite well in terms of business, but I don't think it translates into token price go up for a lot of these projects. So, with that being said, I do think that Ethereum is positioned to do quite well. As a lot of this infrastructure ends up becoming more ingrained into Ethereum, one could argue that it is centralizing a little bit, because they are starting to lock in a lot of these pieces of infrastructure. And I do think institutional capital will continue to pour into a little bit more of the consumer-facing layer of Ethereum, being the DeFi app layer. And so while I think the infrastructure that we've talked about a lot is starting to become more entrenched into Ethereum, and that is actually quite bullish for a lot of these infrastructure projects in terms of adoption and engineering milestones. I think ultimately that infrastructure helps to empower what is going to be this this growth module for the space as a whole, which is this consumer DeFi realm and this neo finance area.
The neo finance realm,
I think, is positioned to be the most lucrative when it comes to 2026. Again, infrastructure probably does quite well in terms of adoption, not so much in terms of price. I think the neo finance realm, this new form of mullet, the CeFi in the front, DeFi in the back sort of mullet, I think ends up really taking hold and doing quite well, both in terms of token appreciation as well as adoption and
I agree.
Business cycle.
I agree. And the token's already looking quite strong. So, all right, guys, that is Vitalik's posted very well. Was super stoked. Got the entire Ethereum community stoked. So excited to have that one there. Yeah, and bullish on Ethereum. I mean, we'll see what happens. I think Tom Lee is aping clips still. So we'll move on from.
He's not going anywhere. Him and Shalom, they've got billions still to go.
Yeah, dude, that Shalom post is doing well. People are excited about it. Good to see. Finally got that one out. People like it. So, yeah. All right. So let's move on from Vitalik.
Yeah, we've got a lot to get through. Our next guest is going to be here in 15 minutes. So what do we have next?
So,
here we go.
As we mentioned, Tom Lee decides that he doesn't have enough ETH, so he needs to buy more ETH. Tom Lee, Fundstrat's Bitmine, bought another 32,977 ETH last week and currently holds 4,143,502 ETH. Yeah, I mean, Tom Lee buying ETH is insane. So I don't think this guy's going to stop. Like, when will Tom Lee stop buying ETH? Like,
why?
When will he?
Why is I don't understand. This is a serious question. I don't understand the narrative around Tom Lee buying ETH is bearish. I don't get it.
Dude, I put out a tweet And I think people are saying that because they want to see what he's made of if we go down a ton. And so that's what the bearish take, I think, is. And people are like, what is he, is he controlling too much of the supply? What happens if he has to puke a bunch? Look, Tom Lee's not stopping anytime soon. Like, he is going to go. He is not stopping. And it's crazy, man. It's crazy because he's going to stake, and he hasn't even done convertible debt yet, like MicroStrategy, but he's talking about it. And so they have a shareholder meeting in 9 days that he's trying to get a massive proposal through for the company before, and they will not stop. They are going to go raise convertible debt. If you recall, once you get over that $10 billion mark, banks will loan to you at about a 10% loan to value ratio on your total capital. And so he's well over that 10 billion mark. In fact, we can actually see where he's at.
He's got about 14, I think. I think he's got 13 billion in ETH, and he's got 1 billion in cash.
So he can go ahead and raise more debt
from banks,
and
debt,
he can buy more ETH. The thing is, though, like, it is kind of crazy that he has bought this much ETH and we're sitting at 32, 37. Kind of makes you wonder, like, without Tom Lee and Joseph Shalom, like, where the hell would ETH have traded? So,
yeah. I tend to think that, I tend to agree. I think these guys aren't going anywhere. I think they're going to be around for the long haul. I don't think you buy $14 billion of an asset to watch it go down and then sell. No, these guys can totally get caught off sides. Anything can happen. But to me, it's like, this isn't, you don't put all of this structure and all of this organizational overhead together for
just to sell the bottom
for a short time frame trade. No. This is a structural company that they're building. This is a publicly traded company.
And this is what we were waiting for, right? We were waiting for like the institutions with longer term horizons that don't care about the month-to-month fluctuations. And it's finally here. And so strap in, guys. Strap in. That's BitMine. That's Tom Lee. Yeah. I mean, great. Keep buying, guys. Like they're going to keep buying.
I'm not a believer in the Tom Lee's bearish scenario. To me,
what if he's right?
To me, this guy is going to have the patience to sell at a profit.
Yeah. Well, his entire life and career depends on that. Like, he's basically put his entire life into Ethereum, which is so sick, but insane. Like Saylor has for Bitcoin and Tom Lee has for ETH.
How do you think the conversation between him and Vitalik go?
It's like, hey, buddy, I own 4% of your network. Your darling child. Don't mess with me, right?
And I'm Vitalik, and I go, hey Tom, we're gonna ship PeerDAS, and we're gonna become the most scalable, decentralized, high bandwidth consensus world computer. You think he likes the world computer?
He's got to like it. He's got to like it. We got to get him on the show this year. It's coming, guys.
I like
the
low risk DeFi narrative. I like
Neo
the
finance
narrative.
Yeah.
The world computer, everything is tokenized, creator coin vibe. I don't know. Coinbase likes it. Vitamin V likes it. I don't know.
Vitamin V. That's my boy, Vitamin V. I coined that one. All right, guys, let's move on from Tom Lee. He's going to keep buying. He's not stopping. Yeah, man. So this one was interesting from Vance. The near total collapse of VC dollars going into DeFi means there won't be 1,000 Temu versions chasing every incumbent. Golden age.
Hold on. Before we get into this, shout out to the tariffs for killing Temu.
Tariffs killed Temu?
Dude, have you seen anything from Temu or Shein or any of these like fast fashion Chinese companies? It was absolute garbage. And it was just like, it was like plastic clothing that you could get for like $2, and they would ship it to you, and it would arrive in like 2 days from overseas. And that is what their business was made of. The shipping cost was so low that they were able to export these like super artificial goods.
Yeah.
And it was just low quality stuff.
No, I've not seen anything from Temu or Shein, but I must say I'm not exactly like watching out for Temu and Shein.
You used to see a lot of it, but it's no longer around because tariffs made it infeasible. Anyway, go ahead.
Still bullish Mega ETH. Yeah, I think so. I think their launch is coming pretty soon. And I'd be excited about that. Tom Lee just needs a solid strategy for buying ETH. Dude just stinks and timing his buys of ETH. Yeah, it's funny. Again, though, I don't know that he really even cares, which is the crazy part. So the near total collapse of VC dollars going into DeFi means there won't be 1,000 Temu versions chasing every incumbent golden age. I think what Vance is referring to here is like all these infra companies had all these different versions coming after them. You had like, you had like the L1, then the alt L1, then the next L1, and the L2, and then the next L2, and the next L2, and all these different kind of like infra companies trying to go at each other's throats. But then DeFi fell off. Like we even rebranded from DeFi Slate to the Rollup in early 22 or so. I think it was like mid to late 2020, or no, it was early 23. And DeFi fell off. And so all these VCs didn't want to invest in DeFi or apps. They just wanted to invest in infra because that's where like the consistent return profile was. And clearly since then, DeFi has had a clear lack of investment. And so I think what Vance means here is like, his Sky and his Maple and his, other investments, Hyperliquid, et cetera. I guess Perps is like the one that you can kind of argue that there's a lot of these Temu versions. But yeah, man, I think what he's trying to say is like, there's very clear winners. And I think so too. It's very obvious. I mean, there's just clear winners in the DeFi category, especially in this neo finance category that is like gonna just keep winning. And so I do think this makes investing in this category easier than others. And so I think that's what Vance is trying to say here. But
yeah, I think the takeaway here is just you don't need to catch the beta, right? It's like you don't need to go look for like the second, third, fourth best in the category and think that they're going to have some outsized gain because the top provider in the category has already won the category. No, it's like just go bet on the winner of the category. And this is true not just in DeFi or crypto, but you saw this in like personal computers with Apple. You see this with Amazon. Like there have been new categories that have gotten formed. And rather than betting on the second best, it's more lucrative to just bet on the winner of the category because those are the ones that end up absorbing the entire category, and then the category grows and they end up having a lot of room to run, even though you think, oh, they've already gone up so much. But no, usually this is the way it happens because they have the network effects and this asymmetric return profile that ends up flywheeling and has a bunch of momentum. And so I mean,
it's just like DeFi has been under-indexed and under-invested in, and it's coming. And like the infra has been built. It's time to push the envelope on the application side. And I think it's clear that that's what's happening.
So I think a lot of the infrastructure that, I think you had gotten up, but when Ethereum was we were showing this headline with Ethereum. It was like, I was saying how I think a lot of this infrastructure is going to follow Santi's roadmap, which is basically the tokens don't do particularly well, but the business is actually gaining a lot of adoption, a lot of mind share. And I think DeFi had the same thing happen, but it happened last cycle. It happened 4 years ago, or even not even quite 4 years ago, but two to 3 years ago, where a lot of DeFi didn't really appreciate. Like over 2024 ish, we had this whole meme coin, right? Like did really well, and Perps did well, Hyperliquid did well, Bitcoin did well, but DeFi predominantly didn't really go up, as a category very much. Right. But it did grow significantly in adoption. We had, lots more TVL get added.
Yep. And stable coins really took off, obviously.
Stablecoin volume growth significant. And so, but it didn't really affect the bottom line. Like the prices of these tokens didn't really move. And so,
in fact, they went down.
Exactly. So now
they went down so much that like they're at the same prices or worse than 2020, 21, when there was like not nearly as much happening.
Yes, there wasn't as much happening, but again, to get back to Arthur, the speculation of credit creation was significantly higher. Yeah. I mean, it was off the back of COVID, tons of money printing, handing out stimulus checks, everyone going bananas. Bored Apes were, $4 million. And so there was tons of credit in the system and tons of speculation. There was more credit. And so that's why, those tokens did particularly well back then. Now they've receded in token prices. But to your point, the adoption of these protocols has gone ballistic. And so now the mean reversion is going to flip and go back the other way. And so I tend to agree here that you're going to end up doing the best by betting on the winners of the categories. Vance is attributing, the collapse of VC dollars, where we're not going to get a lot of copycats and people that are new entrants coming into each of these categories. You can say that's the reason, or you can just point to the mean reversion. These coins didn't do well, but they had a lot of adoption. Now they're going to mean revert and assume this greater token appreciation to keep up with the adoption levels that they had since 2020, 2021.
I think that's the take. All right, Vince. See you soon, man. Moving on from DeFi, I think we have a couple more just like key points to rip through here. Some news that we thought was particularly compelling. Quick market check-in: 92.5 ETH, 32.45. All right, let's move on from DeFi and VC investing golden age. Love the take, and get to the next and probably final coverage of the show before our first guest comes on.
XAUT is the gold standard of the digital age.
Boom.
But thinking in complex decimals isn't always practical. History knew
Tether
this.
Gold.
The original Scudo coin was created to trade with clarity, not confusion. So we evolved. Introducing Scudo, a simpler way to measure gold on chain. One Scudo equals 1,000 of an
Scudo is
XAUT,
1/1000th of an
or simply
XAUT.
1,000th of a gold ounce, giving you a practical and accessible way to represent gold in smaller amounts, whether you're sending, stacking, or pricing in gold.
Shout out to our
Scudo
guy Zach,
makes it
big on
effortless.
physical collectibles.
The new way to count
The
your
new
wealth.
way to count your wealth. We're really doing this gold thing, aren't we? Tether Gold. Wow. Dude, I can't believe the gold that I bought in 2022 is up 3x from my entry. Like, I cannot believe that my gold stash outperformed a lot of other tokens and pretty much most anything in my portfolio outside of Bitcoin and Coinbase stock. Insane. Like, how did I literally sold crypto, bought physical gold, vaulted it, haven't touched it in like 3.5 years, and I tripled my money. Like, how did that happen?
I don't have a lot of thoughts on gold besides if it's the same debasement trade that applies to Bitcoin. It's all of the same,
It's
credit
the same thing.
creation.
That's why I want to buy
speculation of more credit. All of this that applies to Bitcoin applies to gold, but they're not going to mine an asteroid and find a bunch of Bitcoin.
This video is insane. But that's why I wanted to buy uranium a couple weeks ago, because it was like, it's just like the same exact thesis and trend. It's like any of these kind of more finite supply investment assets are gonna just keep going up. Like, it's very simple. I don't think it's really that hard. We need Tether copper. Yeah, it would be funny. So do we long sats? What is it, like 1/1000th of a Bitcoin? Yeah, I guess it's like, this is more 1/1000th of a gold, but I don't think sats is it sounds like more like a meme coin. So
What about I heard someone talk about palladium. What about palladium?
I don't have any palladium, but it was running as well. It was running hard.
This is just an entirely different world. I like the idea of bringing these on chain, becoming more efficient markets, just like all other, equities, bonds, derivatives, etc.
Yeah,
but as far as what's the thesis here? Palladium versus copper. I'm totally out my league.
Yeah, I'm focusing on neo finance. If it's not neo finance, I'm not in on it.
And look, tokenizing gold is neo finance, but as far as like the segmentation between gold and copper and palladium, tokenize all of them.
Tokenize them all.
Tokenize them all. They're all digital assets.
And up next, we've got Shervin Bick, the head of BD at Sizik. We're going to be talking about hardware acceleration, ZK. Rob, take it easy on him. He's just the BD guy. And yeah, we're going to learn. We're just going to get an update, like what's going on. These guys have a massive amount of hardware in China. Like I'm talking like warehouses and warehouses and warehouses of hardware for ZK proving. Same exact warehouses that are in demand for AI and for compute. So we're talking about verifiable compute. Talk about what's kind of the bigger trends happening out in the East in China, and just generally like what we're seeing out there. So I think it's Shervin's first time on the show. I also believe that Sizik had a big mainnet launch. So it was about a month ago. They launched their Compute Fi era, and that's kind of like their big. That's like their big launch before the end of last year. Get an update there. But yeah, man, I'm super curious about this whole like what is happening with demand for compute, demand for energy in China. How's it looking over there? So yeah, pretty stoked to have our guest here, first guest of 2026, man. Salute. I've been pounding coffee today. It's 10:47 a.m.
I haven't had coffee in 4 days. Been a little under the weather.
Wow.
Yeah. But I'm stoked. First guest of 2026.
Yeah, man.
And so yeah, I believe we met Shervin at an event. It might have been in Brussels.
Probably.
I think it was a polychain event. And he was fired up. We were fired up. So I'm excited to reconnect.
Somebody said tokenized peptides. Jeez.
Are you what is this whole Chinese peptide thing?
I don't know, but this was in the chat. Tokenized peptides. Who knows how that's gonna work? All right, guys, we've got the head of BD at Sizik, Shervin Beck. We got a big hardware acceleration going on out in the eastern part of the world, out in China. The Sizik team has launched their mainnet, like I said, about 3 weeks ago. So big launch there. We're gonna talk hardware acceleration, ZK, what's going on with Sizik, the AI data center trade, and more. So let's get Shervin up and get this party started. Here we go.
Hey guys, how are you guys doing? It's been a while.
Yeah, we were just saying, I think we met you in Brussels or something quite a while ago.
Yeah, I think I met you guys first there, and then the last time I saw Robbie at ETC Can, like a crypto.com event. But yeah, it's definitely been a minute. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, man. Happy New Year. Good to have you.
Likewise. Happy New Year's.
Welcome on the
where
show.
are you guys calling in from?
I'm in Hawaii.
And I'm in Florida.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
What about you, man?
Currently in Turkey, in Istanbul.
Sick.
It's definitely like has an interesting crypto scene here. And like before this was in Dubai, so got residency there, and I was trying to get another residency, but in Turkey.
Nice.
But yeah.
Good to have you, man. Well, it's your first time on the show, Shervin. So we'd love to get a quick TLDR on your background, what you do at Sizik, and just kind of like generally your interests and what's drawn you into this crazy industry that we call crypto.
Yeah. So pretty much been involved in crypto, I'd say, for almost around a decade now. Feel kind of old now, but so I got in through trading. At the time, I was on like the US in high school on a visa, so I didn't have a social security number and wanted to trade stocks, but I needed a social security number, and Coinbase at the time didn't have KYC, so I sort of fell through the rabbit hole just through like trading, like a lot of people, and then I began working in the actual industry in 2022. So I had studied data science at Berkeley, and in my final semester, I was working like part-time as a contractor at now, which is known as like YZI Labs, but formerly Finance Labs. After that, had a failed attempt at building a music NFT marketplace with a few friends from Berkeley, and just horrible timing. Plus, I guess that didn't really work out anyways. And I basically pivoted back into venture, worked at A&T Capital, which was a fund backed by Ant Group. And then we invested in Sizik. And once we like deployed the fund, I later joined Isaac as an early team member and pretty much lead everything on like the BD side.
Beautiful. Well, dude, I'm super curious. I know you guys have a ton of hardware in China, and a lot of the team is there, and you guys are doing a lot of like kind of like hardware acceleration for ZK. Man, what is that like out there? I assume you've been out there, seen met the team out there, obviously seen the warehouses. Obviously, we're in this mega AI bubble, right? Where like everyone wants compute, everyone wants hardware, everyone wants to build these data centers. What's going on out there with Isaac? Why do you guys have all of that compute? What is that being used for? Give us a bit of the rundown for the community here.
Yeah, I'd say our team is pretty decentralized. We actually have a few of our hardware engineers in California, and like our head of ops, she lives in the US. Our marketing person lives in the US. Some of our engineers are in China, some are in the US, and then some are in Singapore. But yeah, I mean, we just launched mainnet, and in our token, we TG'd on like December 11th. Trading at around like 40 cents. Since TG, your token has like increased roughly about 150%. In the last week alone, 20%. So around like 400 mil FTV-ish. And today actually, in fact, was our highest day of trading volume, which was around like 450 mil, which basically is signaling like real liquidity and like interest from like external market participants and like retail. So it's not just listing, it's actually people trading it. I guess like sort of marks like the point that like the market sees value in compute fi and infrastructure being tokenized and tradable.
And Shervin, give us a sense of what Isaac does. What is compute fi? Like, what is this general category that you're talking about?
So initially, when Isaac was founded, we were only a hardware company, and we've been building out like ASICs to accelerate zero knowledge proof generation. But there's still no full real ZK proving demand, right? I'd say like an example of a project that actually has like a real ZK demand right now would be like Lighter. But yeah, I mean, we branched out and started doing stuff on like the hardware side. I'd say like there's pretty much like 5 core pillars within Isaac. You have Isaac Network, which is like the L1 blockchain that has like a prover network and like a proof verification layer, like under the hood. I guess you can think of it like a real-time ZK proof layer powered by like custom built hardware that like accelerates ZKPs, like obviously unmatched speed and cost efficient. And then you asked what compute fi is. So compute fi is essentially like the concept of like tokenizing GPUs, ASICs, and like other high performance hardware. So anyone like anywhere can access and trade compute for ZK and like AI workloads. Essentially, it's like establishing compute as a financial primitive, right? Which is quite interesting. So Isaac lets anyone own a slice of like the compute layer by basically tokenizing chips, rigs, and GPUs, and making compute an asset, liquid, tradable, and yield generating. And then there's like the hardware component of Isaac. We have like a GPU CUDA acceleration library on top of GPUs. We could do that, and then in the future we'll have our like ZK Air and ZK Pro. So ZK Air is essentially the size of like a MacBook charger, which would be used primarily for like client-side proving, and then ZK Pro is the size of like a Bitcoin miner, more performant and server-side proving. And then we also have our Dodgebox One, which we've announced a few months back. It's portable, like ultra low power, like Dogecoin miner, securing both like L1 mining and like L2 verification. And currently we verify those proofs in Isaac Network. It's sort of like, think of it as like the Raspberry Pi of Dogecoin. So we're pretty excited about all of that. And then you have Isaac AI, which is like basically extending infrastructure capabilities to like AI compute, whether it's ranging from like agents to inference and training and so on. So compute could be used for like ZK and AI and in general.
Yeah, man. I mean, we've seen this. We've seen this like ZK trade happen, or ZK narrative just like develop so much from just compute, just the idea of we're gonna verifiably bring data off chain, on chain. Okay, now we're gonna do ZK proofs for interrupt between L2s. Okay, now we're gonna do it for perp dexes, as you're saying. Okay, now Ethereum L1 is gonna have a ZK EVM okay, now we're going to just, it's gotten so effective and efficient that we're going to be able to bring it all the way down, from the cost perspective and the speed perspective, increase the performance. And so we've just kind of like had this massive shift in perception about ZK, as well as just in the way that it's being used in actual on-chain environments. And so
Yeah.
you guys have brought out the ZK Air and ZK Pro. You've introduced these purpose-built ASICs for proving. And so this is part of that unlock, right? This is part of that breakthrough in speed or efficiency that these chips unlock, that the traditional GPU can't deliver. Maybe you could tell us a bit more about like what these chips do, what the difference between a GPU is today, and like what these kind of like purpose-built ASICs do. I feel like our audience probably has an understanding of ASICs from like OG Bitcoin mining, but not necessarily for like ZK proving.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like on the GPU standpoint, I guess you could sort of think of a GPU as like sort of like a talented like generalist, right? It's like good at many things, like graphics or AI or like video editing. But our ASICs that we're building are specialized and custom built to accelerate one thing only, and that being ZKPs. And like for the audience, like is like, what is ZK? Like it's essentially like a cryptographic protocol that basically allows you to prove a statement is true without revealing any information beyond the statement itself, right? And like an example that I like to give is like people know the game like Where's Waldo, where you like search for the guy in like the striped shirt, right? And let's say you found him and you want to prove it to your friend, but you don't want to like spoil it for them. So what you could do is like take like a big piece of cardboard and cut a tiny hole in it, just big enough to see, so you see like one person, and put that cardboard over the page so like the hole shows exactly like where Waldo is, right? And then your friend looks through that hole and sees Waldo clearly. But before they can figure out where he is on the page, you pull the cardboard away. Done, right? And you just proved you found Waldo without revealing his location. And basically your friend at that point is convinced you know where he is, but they still have to search for him themselves. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of definitely like future use cases and implications for ZK.
So these ASICs are like very specialized hardware, like boxes, right? Like computers.
Yeah, I mean, ZK Air again is like the size of like a MacBook charger. I have one plugged in right now, charging my Mac. And then ZK Pro, which is primarily for server-side proving and more performant, is sort of like the size of like a Bitcoin machine. But then again, like we won't do the tape out for our chips until like we think the space has matured, and I think we're getting closer and closer, right? Like even Ethereum's co-founder Vitalik, right? Like he recently highlighted that like ZK VMs are like now in like a production quality like alpha state, right? And like there's anticipation of like ZK VM nodes emerging from like 2026 onward, right? And it's a structural shift, right? In how Ethereum itself processes and is building for. And again, like protocols like Lighter, as I mentioned earlier, which is like a rollup focused on like verifiable high performance trading, pretty much demonstrated like a concrete compute demand use case, since they're using custom ZK circuits, and they just open source their circuits. So these like ZK ecosystems are already like absorbing compute resources at scale. And as their adoption grows, so does demand for verifiable compute networks like SISIC. And in addition to the ZK demand part, right, like AI training and inference also demands like huge computing resources. And every AI companies are now flashing out like new AI models, agents, which demand huge computing resources, and all of these are important signals for compute-fi demand.
And so you guys have like these machines. Some of them are as small as a MacBook charger. Some other ones are a little bit bigger. I would estimate you guys have what, thousands, maybe millions?
So we haven't done the tape out for our ZK and ZK Pro because again, it's like capital intensive, and once you do that, you better make sure like there's real ZK proving demand. I think that's snarkifies their L1.
And the tape out is like actually turning on the machines, buying them, putting them in the warehouse,
basically manufacturing the chips and producing them at scale. And basically once you do that, you can't
go back.
Right. back, no Control Z, Command Z.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, at the moment, that's why we basically have a CUDA acceleration library that can be used, utilized on top of GPUs to accelerate proofs. But we've kept that closed sourced and may open source it in the near future.
But you guys started shipping these portable miners, right?
So that was our Dodgebox 1.
Right. Okay. Cool.
The Dodgebox 1 essentially, again, it's portable, ultra low power Dogecoin miner, and it secures both like the Dogecoin L1, and then we verify those proofs on like Sizic network, and it's a way to like get the Dogecoin community like involved, and pretty much make them aware of what ZK is, and again, sort of like the Raspberry Pi of
And you kind of had like a little bit of an unexpected breakthrough, right? With some of these portable miners.
Yeah, I mean, we've sold out quite a lot, and you'll start seeing more news. We're working with can't name them yet, but a layer 2 on Dogecoin, and they're utilizing ZK. So it's going to be interesting to see where that collaboration goes.
There's not many layer 2s on Dogecoin, so our users might be able to sniff that one out. But and so okay, so you know you guys are ultimately, you're going to tape out these machines. You've already sort of tested this out with Dogecoin, and so as this plays out, the machines, like anyone can go and visit them, right? They're going to be, you know, in essentially one of the data centers that we hear so much about.
You'll be able to like order it online, like the same way you can order like a Bitmain miner. You can basically order a Sizic, a ZK Air or ZK Pro.
Cool.
And
so as you know, head of BD at Sizic, who are your main customers? Are they mainly, you know, businesses, roll-ups that are looking to ZK verify their own chains? Are they going to be ordering, you know, the devices themselves, or will they stay in the warehouse and you'll rent them out from you? Yeah, who are your main customers, and what do some of these deals look like?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like there's like a few different angles to it, right? I mean, like in the Bitcoin industry, sure, you have like Bitcoin mining farms, which are like companies just with tons of Bitcoin miners mining Bitcoin, helping secure the blockchain. And then you also have like retail users that buy that hardware to like mine Bitcoin. So it's sort of the same thing at Sizic. In the future, like both, like I'm sure there's going to be like large companies that maybe are validators for ETH that might get into mining. Like a lot of Bitcoin miners didn't enter like the validator space for Ethereum, and I think they're eyeing the ZK space pretty closely. And once there's like actual ZK proving demand, and once you see these ZK miners, I think that's when the ball will start to get rolling.
Yeah.
Is there any other, like, I'd imagine that a lot of the Bitcoin miners now, and you're probably like, I'm sure they are looking at not only, you know, mining or validating Ethereum, but also, you know, verifying and proving ZK proofs. How much of that are they using their own existing infrastructure and their own existing hardware, trying to repurpose what they've already have that they already have mining Bitcoin, versus going out buying new GPUs or new ASICs and applying those to ZK proofs?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, right? You could utilize like a CUDA acceleration library on top of a GPU and start accelerating proofs. There's various different like prover networks, right? Like we've had like collaborations like with like Scroll in the past, and like Succinct, and like all of them are converging sort of like on the same like architectural like vision to make like the idea of like instant proofs a reality, right? And they all are sort of implementing like GPU clusters, and I don't know, formal verification or open source like Rust tooling, and prover networks like ours. And I think that milestone, right? Like it makes like instant proofs like potentially like standard in 2026. And it's when that tech stack becomes like invisible, right? It's like right now you're integrating a prover and it's like complex engineering work. But all of us are working towards making it as simple as connecting to the internet, right? It'll be invisible, a reliable service that just works. And when the proving is both like fast enough and easy enough to be taken for granted, then that's when I guess like instant becomes the standard, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, those teams were pretty familiar with them both, and Raciro, as as well. And just, it seems like there's this collaborative effort with the ZK companies really coming together, especially for Ethereum L1. It is interesting how Ethereum is going to have to choose one kind of like ZK EVM or ZK VM to kind of use, could use like this multiple, we had Dankrat on. He was talking about how there's going to be like this approach of using many ZK VMs, but then it's going to kind of get windowed down into just, probably one at some point based on the roadmap. So I think that's interesting. I was thinking like, if you think about AI is just consistently getting better and better and stronger, but also like it's just more and more opaque. Like there's just not like Near.ai just came out with this private chat product, which is absolutely epic. And like, other than that, everything else in the AI world that we've seen, even in crypto AI or in, traditional AI, is all just like a black box. And so it seems like Sizik's verifiable compute layer, or just kind of like this general idea of like bringing this like verifiable computation to the AI sector as well, kind of how we started this conversation, can actually give people confidence about models, about training, about input data, about all these types of things too.
No, yeah, no, 100%. I mean, we basically provide a way to get like a cryptographic receipt, like for the computation, right? And for some models, we can generate a proof, such as a ZK snark, that guarantees that AI model ran correctly, right? And for some others, you could use like a system of like checks and balances, and multiple providers can like run the same task independently, and then the network checks their answers against each other, and it replaces trust us with like a system designed for like verification.
Yeah, man. Well, coming to a close here, what's up next for Sizik? What's kind of your main focuses from the BD perspective? What are the product updates that you're looking forward to? Kind of where's your head at for Q1 here?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like I'm hoping to see an increase in proving demand. I mean, I think Lighter has killed it. And I think the next major unlock for ZK Compute is just demand, right? In the past years, like ZK Tech has converged into near like optimal like ZK proving backends, and like, I don't know, different proof sizes and like verification costs. And in my opinion, I think the ZK techniques are like now mature, not only for like the blockchain community, but also for like traditional enterprises in the world. And again, like ZK has existed since like the 80s. It's nothing new. It's just now becoming more and more relevant. And some examples would be like verifiable AI inference training, I don't know, ZK TLS for like data sourcing, or even ZK services within like the financial sector, right? Like proof of reserves, right? Like back in the day, my money was on Cryptopia. I don't know if you guys remember that exchange.
Oh, yeah.
It got hacked.
I'm sorry, bro.
Filed for bankruptcy. I honestly don't know what happened, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely going to be cool to see like new ZK use cases come out.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, proof of reserves would have been really usul for Cryptopia. I still get the emails to this day.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Shervin, last question for you. I noticed the token is only live on Binance Chain and Base. Is that right, or what was the logic behind that decision?
Yes, so it's on Binance Smart Chain and Base, and there's also like a few exchanges where you can trade like futures or spot. So like there's also liquidity on like BitGet, Gate, KuCoin, Mexi, Bitmark, Lbank, and then PancakeSwap. And
Why those chains? Why Binance Smart Chain and Base?
Well, we went with Binance Alpha, right? And as part of that, I mean, we don't have spot, and we saw what a few of our competitors, how they targeted their listings, and we were thinking like, how could we do it better? And so far, I think our decisions have definitely been for the best for our community and for the long-term growth for Sizik. And just in less than a month, right, we're above like 150%.
Yeah, man.
Very cool. Congrats.
Shervin, head of BD at Sizik, man. Have a great Q1. Hope it's strong for you guys. Thanks.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Thanks for joining us today, man.
Have a great day, guys.
Cheers, buddy.
See you again soon.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Cheers, Sherman.
Man, oh man, the ZK trade continues. Rollup TV, Tuesday, January 6th, first episode of the year. Shervin's out, ZK's in. I see a snorkeler looking for fish. There's a lot of spearfishing going on out here in Hawaii right now. It's a beautiful day. Got a lot of work to do, Rob. Fun show today.
What you got going this afternoon? You doing some snorkeling, surfing?
I'm gonna go write an article.
All right. I'll leave you to it. Andy, great show. Pleasure as always. We're going to have some fun this year, aren't we?
I think we are, man. It's going to be a good year. It's going to be a good year. I think I'm not putting too much focus on week one of price action or week one of vibes. I think it's just everyone's kind of getting back into the flow today. Even today, just on the show, getting reset up, getting into the swing of things. But we're going to come out swinging this year. So, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. We're going to be going live a little bit later, around that 2:30 Eastern time or so for the foreseeable future. I'm in Hawaii. It's early morning here, later in the afternoon over there in Florida. So, guys, we'll see you tomorrow, and mahalo. Cheers.
Aloha.
Bye.